morning. Welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Monday, February 3rd, 2014. The National Football League is very fortunate. Last evening's Super Bowl was played at 45-degree temperatures with very little precipitation. Today in Princeton, New Jersey, there is a major winter storm. Approximately 9 inches of snow are expected to fall before the snow ends. Meanwhile, in Greece, a strong earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of possibly as high as 6.1 struck the western Greek island of Kefalonia before dawn today. This island had been struck by an earthquake on January 26th, 5.9. School children had not returned to school yet, so they will not have to be given days off. There was some damage this time. There was damage to the port in Kefalonia. It seems, though, that there has been no loss of life. The European Data Loss Compilation Agency Perils indicates that Windstorm Dirk, which swept through the UK and France around Christmas time, will cost European insurers about $370 million. Dirk is one of a series of violent autumn windstorms that struck Europe during the last 3 months of 2013. The most destructive, of course, was Christian, known in the UK as the St. Jude's Day storm. That caused losses of about $1.4 billion. Meanwhile, there's a story that's emerged today that apparently Zurich Insurance Group is holding the cards and continuing discussions about restarting work on the Panama Canal expansion. The Panama Canal expansion, the deepening and expansion of the waterways is critical to accommodate larger vessels, specifically liquid natural gas vessels that are going to be transiting from the East Coast through to the western part of the United States as well as elsewhere in Asia. Apparently, there's a proposal on the table that is involved in discussions between the consortium of construction companies that are building it in work with the Panama Canal Authority. The construction companies have run out of money. The Panama Canal Authority does not wish to impart any more money, and apparently Zurich Insurance is seeking a role in attempts to resolve the dispute. A source with knowledge of the matter said one option is for Zurich to convert $600 million of surety bonds that it has on the project into a loan that would free up money to help complete the deal. The project has been a big cost overrun. It was originally scheduled to cost about $5.25 billion, but the overruns could bump it up to nearly $7 billion. People close to the discussion say Zurich is right now checking the numbers that have been proposed by the construction consortium. Well, when you think of Kenya in Africa, you always think of Nairobi, but there's a very important second city in Kenya. That's the port of Mombasa. And in Mombasa, for the second day in a row yesterday, police had to fire rubber bullets and tear gas at Muslim youths. Apparently, 2 people were killed in protests. Port traffic continues unimpeded from what we're being told. However, this is part of the continuing project by the Kenyan authorities to dismantle al-Qaeda and militant Islamic recruitment networks that exist in Kenya. There was a huge fire in Wisconsin in a place called Whitewater on Friday night that ended up unfortunately destroying as many as 300,000 chickens. The chickens were part of an 800-acre egg farm that housed 2.4 million hens and produces 2 million eggs a day. A 16-hour blaze at a chicken farm that's owned by the S&R Egg Farm Company ended up unfortunately resulting in the deaths of the 300,000 chickens. Meanwhile, in the United States, Philip Seymour Hoffman, an Academy Award-winning actor, died at the age of 46 in New York City yesterday. Apparently was found with a heroin syringe protruding from his arm. And in the Ukraine, Viktor Yanukovych, the Ukrainian president, has returned from 4 days of sick leave. And he is now expecting for further calls to come from the opposition calling for his resignation. The loyal people around him say that the president is going to immediately re-immerse himself in work. However, there's now another wrinkle. Top Western officials, including U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and the EU Foreign Affairs head Catherine Ashton, have apparently come up with a financial plan that they are willing to propose to the Ukraine if the Ukrainian president turns away from Moscow, as the protesters wish him to do. So it could be a question of the old story, money talks. Here's an interesting thing about money talking. The European Commission has published its first ever European Union anti-corruption report. And it said that the extent of corruption in the 28-nation bloc is breathtaking, and it costs the European Union economy about $162 billion a year annually. The survey also shows that 3/4 of Europeans think that corruption is widespread, and they say that 1 out of 12 Europeans say they have experienced or witnessed a case of corruption in the past 12 months. And in that game, that Super Bowl, it was a rout. The Seattle Seahawks beat the Denver Broncos by a score of 43-8. The game was never competitive. 85,000 people sat there, 150 million people watched. Unfortunately, they had other things to do. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.